Today I was just learning about the power of karma and how that if you dig a well for someone, eventually you're going to end up in that same well. Or for example, if you dig a pit for someone, even you eventually will end up being in that same pit. And even as I was learning, going through that lesson, it just reminded me that we need to stop being in positions where we do evil unto others. And the reason that was so important for me was because so many times people do evil or do wrong for others and assume that that wrong will not turn out for them eventually. And we have to be able to understand that when you do something evil and you plan that evil in your heart, you always assume that this thing won't happen for you. But so many times we've seen in families where maybe a policeman did an evil thing to a suspect, and eventually down the line that person was convicted, that person was hurt, that person was aggravated, and even the pattern appears and repeats itself in its family. And so many times we call that maybe generational curses, we call them generational cycles. But so you can think that your actions don't have an impact, but those actions can actually have an impact later on your children. They can have an impact later on your loved ones. And you have to be so intentional. You have to be so intentional to remind yourself that, you know what, my actions are going to be either a blessing or a curse. And I have to intentionally decide that I am the person in my family who's going to make a difference. I'm the person in my family who's going to create a change that will bless my family, bless my children's children, and it's just not with me. The world calls it karma, and I think the reason even the world calls it karma is because so many times patterns repeat themselves. They repeat themselves so much that whether you know God or you don't know God, the world has observed it because it's principle. And principles are not a respecter of religion. If right now I decide I'm going to jump from a building, the gravity, the law and the principle of gravity dictates that I will definitely fall down. And so we have to be so intentional. We have to be so intentional with our actions. We have to be so intentional with our processes, because principles work. And that's why people in the world call it karma. Other people call it what is it goes malipo hapa duniani. And you even, I think when they coined the phrase that what you do unto others will be done unto you, it's different words. Different generations have coined different terms, but at the end of the day they just mean the same thing, where you do unto others something and it will come back to you. And so many times you look at victims who have been oppressed in the justice system, and you see how the justice judges send out some judges send out wrong sentences, and sentences that they're not just they don't bless per se. And you have to be in a place where you are actually pity and cry for these judges, because you can see that this cycle will eventually come down to others. So even if you're in a position of, if you're a politician, if you're in a position where you are just consuming the wealth of the citizens, thinking that, you know what, they won't feel the impact, who cares? This is money for the government. But it's not money for the government. It's money that was meant to serve the needy, serve people in need. It was meant to be funds that will have been used to bless someone. If you hear politicians stealing money for medicine that can help people, and when you visit the villages here in Kenya, you see the need that is in hospitals. You see the want, and you keep asking yourself, don't these people realize that what goes around will eventually come around? So every day my encouragement is to remind myself of the principles of God's word, to remind myself that, you know what, things, what goes around comes around, and eventually, if you're not careful, even if it doesn't come back to you, it will come back to your children. And I believe everyone loves their own children. Everyone loves their own, seeing their genes prosper in every situation. So if that nothing else motivates you, I pray that this day you will be motivated by the fact that your family deserves better, you deserve better, the people around you deserve better. And if you keep on doing actions, stealing from others, planning evil for others, gossiping, spreading malicious rumors, being prideful in your evil, that action will definitely. We've seen leaders who overthrew governments, and eventually even they themselves were overthrown, not because they were special, but because principle works through and through. Principle works whether you are born in a rich family. Principle works whether you are from a poor family. Principle works whether you are from Africa, Europe. It doesn't matter. Principle works. And when it says that when you dig, and that's in Proverbs 26, and that's the Proverbs I was reading today. I don't know if I can be